Sip of coffee, very important. Hello! If you already watched some of my videos, you may know I come up with new ideas and make one doll and then I don't continue them. This thing that I have in mind will be called AAY plus R. I'm glad that no one asks what that means. It means ask and you receive. And we have this little plus at the Y. So that means ask and you shall receive if I feel like it and think no one will be offended by your idea and it is something that sparks my interest, I have a good idea and be able to pull it off. Yeah, let's stay with the short AAY plus Y plus? Y plus? Y plus. AAY plus R. I really like the idea of doing something that you ask for, but not everything is in my comfort zone. But after my iridescent angel video, I got a request for doing an Athena doll. Though I always loved Greek mythology, it was completely in my interest to do an Athena. Athena. To you, the one who this whole video is for. I hope you enjoy it. So, let's go. I went through all my dolls and thought Cherry's Hood was the one that was the most how I would picture Athena. She has a little bit broader bridge of the nose than most of the other dolls, which is something I would think of when I picture the most Greek statues. So that was what I had in mind. I may mix things up a little bit, but I think Greek beauty standards back in the days were quite special. I'm not completely sure if fair skin was one of it, but one thing that I know was very much liked was a unibrow. And no, just no. When I think about a goddess like Athena, I picture her with a little bit darker skin and brown hair and, yeah, piercing blue eyes. And not just the iris, but the whole eye. So that it's, yeah, shining and ethereal and as if it is glowing from the inside. And I knew I would not be able to achieve that, but I decided to go with a complete blue eye anyway. Because I wanted to have something that doesn't scream, okay, ordinary human, but okay, something special. And I went back and forth with the eyes, which was my main problem this time. Everything I did went quite wrong, and then there was a second when it looked good, and then it was damaged again. So the eyes were a little bit much to do, and I think I have to try something like this again. So far, when I did the whole eye in just one color, I normally just made a black eye, and this was the first time doing it with color and having the iris part be as light as possible, and that was a bit tricky. When I was finished with the eyes, I dotted on some white reflections and then covered everything with a glossy varnish that I had mixed some shiny iridescent pigments into it for my mushroom girl sculpture that I made some time ago. And yeah, with that, the eyes were a little bit more sparkly, and all the repainting I did was a little bit covered. And yeah, I think it looks quite great in the end. So the main repaint part was the eyes this time, and the shading went more or less by itself. After I was nearly finished with the repaint, I had to take a break and go to my mom for a week. And while I'm with my mom, I sometimes make dolls there too, but I can't film them. But I want to show the two I did this time. The first one once was a clear denial, now it's a witch with a transparent hat, which I think looks quite cool. She's quite stylish. And the second one, I had a Snapstar Echo doll, and I think the hats are far too big. And I decided to swatch the body with, or swap the body with a bigger doll, and that was the result. I quite like her. Just a little interruption from Athena. Now back to her. The next thing I needed were Athena's accessories, insignias. I don't know how they're called. Um, which are four main things, I think. You have the spear, the shield with the Medusa in it, the helmet, and her breastplate thing. And I thought, let's make an owl for her too, because it's kind of her thing too, with the wisdom and stuff like that, you know. These strange things no one knows about. For the Medusa Shield, I used polymer clay and just put it onto the bottom part of a flower pot, which had the right size for the doll. And then I used an old mold I made years ago from a Frankie and put her face onto the shield, and yeah, then just sculpted the snakes out of snakes of clay. Surprise. And yeah, it turned out quite funny, I think. I do like the shield. It is, from all the accessories, I think it's the one I like the most. And yeah, with that, her shield was done for the moment. For the spear, I took a wooden dowel, a wooden stick, and yeah, just wrapped some polymer clay around it, and then worked on some details, like yeah, the top of the spear, obviously, and some decorations. And though I was quite sure that I wanted to use sheet metal for the color part instead of color, um, I think it is called sheet metal. I'm not completely sure about that, how it's called in English. But because I already knew I wanted to use that, I thought a fancy spear would make sense. Fighting wise, it wouldn't make sense, but from a design point, I think it looks quite well. Then it was helmet time, and I made the helmet out of epoxy clay off camera because I had to figure some things out. And while I was working on it, I worked on the owl too a little bit. For the breastplate, I used Warbler for the first time in my life, and I couldn't believe how easy it was. And I think I have to use it a little bit more often in the future, because, yeah, it was just heating it up and cutting it to size and finished. For the snakes that are on the breastplate, I used epoxy clay again. And yeah, with that, it was time to more or less drown everything I made in the adhesive and the glue that is made for, yeah, putting leaf gold onto it. And yeah, at first I thought, do I really want to use gold? Because gold may be the least favorite color I have. I prefer silver, but I already used silver on the iridescent angel, and I didn't want Athena to look like the same doll or nearly the same doll. And I had some copper left, so I decided to go with a copper armor for Athena, which may not be the obvious choice. I think in most of the depictions I saw her accessories were mainly gold, but I think the copper stuff looks quite nice. But first we had to add the liquid glue stuff. It is a special glue that is made to apply leaf gold, and yeah, you should really use it because it's great. You just slap it on and then you put the leaf metal onto it half an hour later and it sticks. It's great. I love it. Oh yes, and I just sand down a little bit of the spear part to make it a little bit more sharper looking. It's not sharp. Yeah, and after everything was drowned in the adhesive, I was able to finally put copper over everything. And I don't know how it is to work with real leaf gold and stuff like that, but with the stuff I had, it was a mess. In the end, I had copper everywhere. I was sparkling like metal. Everything around me was sparkling. It was a joy. It was pure joy. I always have to say that. And I won't learn I will use something like this again. And yeah, after everything was covered, I took out the breastplate and put some straps on it. I made a little buckle out of a needle because I made some buckles out of copper wire for my steampunk, wasteland, cyberpunk, whatever guy, and they weren't the most durable. And yeah, the one I made out of the needle was or is quite nice. I think I have to do more of them in the future. And after I was finished with putting the straps onto everything, yeah, just the breastplate, Um, I took out some black and some green, and first I darkened everything, or not everything, the parts that I thought could need some color and don't be that shiny. And then I put some green over it to give it the illusion of weathered copper. And I did that on all the copper pieces, and yeah, I do like the look of it. I decided to leave some spots more shiny, some spots with the acrylic paint, and because I had these two textures, I decided it would be the best choice not to glaze everything. Yeah, you have to handle these things with a lot of care, because otherwise the copper will come off a little bit. Then it was time to unravel her hair and give her, just something like a hairdo. Off camera, I made the owl while watching TV. Wah, wah, wah. And I made her dress by just cutting a piece of fabric into a square, rounded off one of the ends, folded it over, and put two threads into it to just tie it onto her. And that was what I did. Because, let's face it, Greek fashion was mainly just square fabrics. And then it was finally time to put everything together. So I put her hat on again, gave her her dress, which was just wrapping around, tying two knots, and finished. Struggled to put the breastplate onto her, and that was the moment where I realized the shield doesn't have straps, and I went off camera again and glued on some straps and yeah, put everything onto her. And now you will see the pictures of her, and I hope you like her. I think she looks quite cool. I hope you enjoyed this video, and we will see us next time. Bye! As usual, I forgot something. Like and subscribe! There was something, I knew it.